Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I am doing the military assumptions and stereotypes video, and as I was processing this and going through this and trying to figure out how do I want to talk about and address these assumptions and stereotypes, I really came to the conclusion that all of these assumptions and stereotypes are true in some form. Because when you think about an assumption or a stereotype, it is formed because people see a lot of group of people doing something specifically. Like, you know, this college is a party college because a lot of these people party, and just because you go to that college doesn't mean you party, but a lot of people there do, and so then it becomes a stereotype, an assumption that if you go there, you are going to party. Or with certain like race, this race likes this type of food, and not everyone does, but you've seen a lot of them do that, and so you have created now a stereotype or an assumption. And so a lot of these assumptions and stereotypes were formed because a lot of military spouses have created these and they do these. And so really in this video, I want to address the stereotype and address the assumption that is being told that that's who we are, and one, just encourage us all to raise higher than that, but also kind of debunk them in a way, mostly for non-military people, to understand that these are not who we are, at least from my perspective, because I know, again, there are some people who are this way, but the majority of us are not. So I just want to explain those, I guess have a platform to explain those, also call us as spouses to a higher standard of living. So I don't know if all of that made sense, hopefully it did, but anyways, let's get started with this video. Alright, so the very first one that we have all heard is that military significant others marry for the money. And this one, I'm bringing back OG Brit+Con video. If you are new to this channel and you are a military significant other and you're thinking about getting married, go watch my video, my very first video, and then I probably have another video saying do not marry for the money. Do not marry for the money, because it's literally so dumb to marry for the money. The thing about marrying for the money that to me is dumb is that military people, personnel, they do not make a lot of money. They just don't. And like, it might seem like a lot of money when you're like getting out of college or you're getting out of high school and this person that you love has more money than you because you don't have a full-time job making money. Like, it seems like a lot of money, but they do not make a lot of money. Like, at all whatsoever. I'm pretty sure, like, if you are a military personnel in Texas, pretty sure, not positive about this, but you make about the same amount as a teacher or less than a teacher, depending on where you live. And teachers don't make a lot, as we all know, so they make about what teachers do or less than what teachers do. So it's not a lot of money. It just isn't. And again, it could seem like a lot because it's just the two of you. But the thing is with the military is when you have children in the military, you don't get extra money. You just don't. So you could have you and your spouse and you could be making money. Say you want a child, you don't get extra money. Another child, don't get extra money. So now you are living on a low income and you probably need to get a job, or maybe you already have a job, I don't know. But now you're dealing with two children and your spouse is not making a lot of money, and hopefully you have a college degree because you need to make a lot of money, because in the military they do not make a lot of money. And I'm specifically talking to the people who are like just starting out in the military, because once you start growing in ranking, you do start to make like a little bit more money because you continue to grow. But it takes a while to get there, and it's not just instant money that you're getting. And another stereotype was stability, that people married for stability. And stability is partially correct because your significant other does have a stable job. However, you're having to move all the time. So you're not going to be stable. You're going to have to find a job, if that's what you want to do, in different states. And he's going to like have his job, which again is good. But there's more stability in a regular relationship and marriage than there is in the military. So the stereotype of having stability is kind of dumb, because we have like zero stability other than the fact that he consistently has a job for X amount of years that he's signed up. And the fact that like some of us fall into the stereotype of marrying for the money, like, you shouldn't be doing that, ladies or men. And I've heard of people doing like the military marriage for like just contract reasons of you both decide that you want to be financially stable and you don't actually love each other and the end goal is to divorce and, you know, blah blah blah. You seriously have to like have serious baggage and are going to have more baggage in the future if you decide that that's the life that you want to live, of like just getting married and then having money and then getting a divorce. Like, what kind of life is that? Why don't you find someone else who is truly gonna love you? Why don't you get a stable job? Why don't you be a strong, independent woman and or man? Find yourself your own job without depending on some guy just for a contract, just to get divorced later. Like, I don't understand. It's so... I had to pray before this video because I'm getting riled up in here. These stereotypes get me heated. So yes, the stereotype of marrying for the money is true, because there are a lot of military couples who do this, and it's very, very sad. And then it puts us, people who don't do that, in a really bad position, because now everyone thinks that we do that, and that's not true. It is okay, and I want to say that it's okay if you marry someone you love and money is like just a plus, because money is not evil. There's, you know, that phrase, money is the root of all evil. That's not necessarily true, because money is good because you're able to like bless people, you're able to have a home, you're able to do things that you love, but it's the motive behind the money that makes it evil. So if you are marrying for the money and not because of love, that's not good. But if you're marrying for love and money is going to help provide for wedding, for house, for children, all those things, like, that's good. You do want to have, like, you're starting a family together, you do want to have some sort of like financial stability within that. So that's perfectly fine. But just check your motive, people, before you get married. It's not that hard. Check your motive. Check yourself before you wreck yourself, because you will wreck your marriage. All right, so after that long, I forgot what it was called. Pregnancy brain up in here. Topic, there's the word. Now we're moving on to military wives cheat. And this one is so sad that it is true, because, and I've never specifically known a wife that has cheated on her significant other, but I've heard it like many times. I've heard the stereotype, and it, like, I don't want to say that it makes sense, but it does kind of make sense, because you are separated for a long time, you are, you know, communicating with other guys maybe, or, you know, you're just alone, you're feeling lonely, you're struggling with loneliness. We all struggle with loneliness. If you're not finding joy in loneliness, or you're like not getting out and, you know, having a community of friends, maybe you weren't loved growing up, and so you have a struggle with like searching love and your husband's not there to love you. It makes sense. And so for this one, I've actually gotten a lot of comments just on my YouTube channel. I actually got one today about, if you guys don't know, there's this term called Jody, and Jody is basically this guy, mythical guy, who, like, your husband's gone or your significant other is gone, and Jody slithers his way in and is like, oh hey girl, you want to cry on my shoulder? Oh hey girl, whatever people say, whatever they say, I don't know, and you confide in them, and then all of a sudden you do something, whatever, that's not with your significant other who is overseas or you are apart from. So there's that term, which I've actually gotten a lot on my channel in comments or on the channel about that, and I just kill them with kindness, because that's what you gotta do. But it's obviously a real thing that military wives have done. So as a way to rise above that, one, if you are someone who needs constant affirmation and attention, and you know that about yourself, don't be in a relationship, especially with someone who's in the military. Like, just don't do it. You might be like, I love him so much, I'm never gonna do that, blah, 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 blah. But if you know yourself and you know that you need constant affirmation and attention, like, one, you need to intentionally work on yourself, and you need to figure out, like, why do I need constant love and affirmation? Because the only person who can give us constant love and affirmation is Jesus, and we cannot expect our significant other to be Jesus because they're fallen humans who can't always give us love and affirmation. So first of all, you probably need Jesus. Second of all, if you are like that, don't be talking to other guys, because most likely, if you know yourself, which you should, then you shouldn't be talking to other guys, because you know that they're most likely gonna slide in. You're going to pour your heart out to them. You're gonna get comfortable, and they're gonna be someone who can comfort you, and something could happen even if you don't want it to. So just stay away from that. Like, rise above this, ladies. Rise above it. We are strong. We don't need a man to comfort us and to love us. The only man we need is Jesus Christ. But that's besides the point. We don't need another guy to console us. Find a girlfriend, find someone that you trust who is a lady. Just share your heart with them. Don't share it with another guy. Don't do it, okay? Don't do it. But this one is true. It does happen. Let's rise above it, because not all of us are like that. So the next one flipped over is military guys cheat. And this, again, could be whether they are in the military or they are the significant other. Could be either one. But military guys cheat. And again, this is true. It does happen because you're separated for a long time, and these things just happen if you don't deal with them. So there are many reasons that people cheat, but the majority of the reasons are, one, you weren't loved as a child or as an adolescent, and so because you weren't loved, you're constantly searching for love, and that can turn into cheating, because even when you're with someone you love, you still don't feel loved, and so then you turn to someone else who you think loves you, and it happens again, and it's like a cycle, and so you're always searching for love. Second one is you have a low self-esteem. So with the lack of love, you get a low self-esteem, and so you're always wanting to feel affirmed with different people. And then the third one, mostly in guys, but it's starting to be in women, is that you are addicted to pornography. And with pornography, you see these visual things, and when that doesn't become enough for you, you go out and you want to see it in action visually, which can be strip clubs, or you yourself participate in those things, and that can be cheating. So those things, mostly combined, can lead to cheating. When feeling unloved is not addressed, when having low self-esteem is not addressed, when having an addiction to pornography is not addressed, then cheating happens. And again, specifically, this is not for guys, but guys are more likely to go to like strip clubs and things like that, especially when they are like separated from their significant other. And so that's why I wanted to mention that. But this can happen for women too. So in order to like rise above this, guys, one, if you are struggling with these things, you need to tell someone. You need to tell, you know, maybe one of your guy friends that you trust, a chaplain on your ship, a lay leader. Connor is a lay leader for his ship, and he's always having to like encourage guys to not do things whenever they go onto a port, or praying with them and like asking for strength for these guys that they wouldn't do things that they're not supposed to. Because like, is it hard for guys to be away from their significant other when they feel like they have this desire? Yes. But guys, you can control your desires. But when you don't learn to control your desires, then that's when things like run rampant. When you don't like deal with the things that you're struggling with, that's when all infidelity happens. So talk to someone if you're struggling with this. Talk to a lay leader, talk to a chaplain, and then most importantly, talk to your significant other. As like a wrap up of men cheating and women cheating, you both need to be vulnerable with the things that you're going through. If wife, you are dealing with a lack of love, you feel unloved, dude, you need to listen. If you are dealing with a lack of love, you girl need to listen, and you both need to like figure out, how can we feel more connected during this deployment, during this underway. Maybe we'll do a devotional together. Maybe we will play a game together. Connor and I played Battleship a lot whenever we were separated, playing different games while you're separated and finding things that connect you, because that is super, super, super important, and being vulnerable with each other about the things that you're going through. And it's just like such a sad reality, because it is hard to be away from your significant other for a long time. And people who say like military wives cheat, military husbands cheat, they're just all blah, 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 blah. Like, it does sound bad, and it is bad, but it's also like a sad reality, because we're always apart from each other. And if those people who are saying those things could live our life, they would see how hard it is to constantly be loving each other, constantly be affirming each other, constantly be like sharing our hearts with each other when we're so far apart. And it's so difficult, but we can rise above it. We can be faithful, we can be loving and encouraging and all these things from a distance. We can seek help, seek a chaplain, seek a lay leader. Wives, if you're home and you feel like you need help, seek mentorship or seek a counselor, or you know, anything like that. I'm like ranting on all these, but I'm just super passionate about these assumptions and stereotypes, and I want us as wives and significant others to rise above these, and I think that's super important to do and that people need to hear. So let's move on with our next topic. All right, so the next one is everyone has a baby. And I thought this was interesting because so if you don't know, I am pregnant. That is me. I am having a child. And one of the things that I always thought before having a baby was all wives and all military couples are pregnant. Like, I would go into the FRG meeting and there would just be children running around, and I'm like, who are these children? Like, there's a million children here and like 4 parents. Like, what is happening? Where are all these children coming from? Like, I was that young person that was like, everyone has a child. But as I was thinking about this, and as I was thinking about this video, I thought it like totally makes sense that military couples have, like almost all military couples have children. Because if you think about it, like if you're in a college and you're around all these people in college, barely anyone is gonna have a child, because they're all in college. Same with like high school. When you grow up and you become a young adult and you're surrounded by young adults, like most likely maybe like 5 of those young adults will have children out of like 10 or 20 of you, because they're young adults, they're starting their life, maybe they have a newborn or whatever, so you know, they're starting to have children. But when you are in a military community, so a small community of people, 20 to probably like 45, and so there's a wide range of people, so community 20 to 45, you are all most likely married, or maybe you are the person that is just a significant other. It kind of makes sense that there are tons of children, because if you're married and you're being intimate with each other, that makes sense. You're gonna have babies. I feel like from an outside perspective, if you are a single person, or maybe you're starting off like as a significant other, or you just get married and you see all of these older couples with children, you're like, oh my gosh, they all have children. But they're all married and they all have been together 5+ years maybe, or maybe they just had a baby right when they got married, I don't know. But they're all most likely gonna have children if you're a married couple who wants children. And then it's just, you're all grouped together into one room, you know? And so it just kind of makes sense that it just seems from the outside perspective that all military people have babies, because they're married and they're at the age to have children. Like, it just makes sense. So yeah, me and Connor probably won't be those people, because we're getting out of the military and then we're gonna have our baby. But as I was just thinking about that, I was like, it totally makes sense, but from an outside perspective, it just totally looks like we all are having babies and whatever. But if you just look at like couples in general, like just if you go outside and you see couples, they're most likely gonna have babies because they're couples and they want children. That was kind of dumb to me now that I actually thought about it. Before, I was totally that person, but anyways. All right, so the next one really grinds my gears, really just, that wasn't grinding gears. Anyways, I really hate this one. It is the stereotype that military wives don't work and that we have the term dependopotamus. And this one really makes me mad because it is very, very much sexist. And the reason I say that is because if more women were in the military and men were stay-at-home dads and they didn't work because they were stay-at-home dads, you would not call a husband dependopotamus. And that alone makes me upset, because it's like, why is it that women can't be stay-at-home moms but men can, and men are applauded for it because they're just like the sweetest dads, changing diapers and blah 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 blah. Like, I'm all for, like, Connor's gonna change a diaper, it's so cute, it's gonna be awesome, he's gonna be an amazing dad. But the fact that we will be like, if he chose to be a stay-at-home dad, he would not be a dependopotamus. Like, that alone is like, that is stupid, and that should not be a thing, because that is very sexist. And if a wife wants to be a stay-at-home parent, like, that alone in itself is work, because you're taking care of a child. It's not just you sit around all day and don't take care of the child. That alone just like frustrates me. So the dependopotamus part, I hate. The fact that there is the stereotype military wives don't work, that one, again, partially true, because there are wives who decide not to work, but I feel like a majority of them are the wives who are stay-at-home moms. Now, there are the other wives who just don't work, just don't have jobs, just sit home, just do nothing. And if you are one of those wives, I don't want to like shame you or anything, but I would just encourage you to rise above that, to get a college degree, to find a job, to do something, or like start a business. You know, don't start a business that's a multi-marketing business, because that's also a stereotype that I heard, that like all military wives are multi-level marketing business owners. And if you want to do that, that's perfectly fine, but just start your own business. Start an Etsy shop, do some draw if you like to draw, start a YouTube channel, that's fun, do that. But do something that you love to do, and don't just be okay with just staying home and like being there. You are a strong, independent woman, and you can do anything that you want. God has given you a desire in your heart that he sees fit for particularly and only you. And so just search what that is, figure out what he has put on your heart to do, and go and do it. Because I think everyone should have a passion and a desire to do something, and whether that's being a stay-at-home mom or going out and doing something, just do something. So just like to kind of wrap this one up, dependopotamus is stupid and sexist, and it should not be a thing. Because also, like, dependopotamus says that we are fat, the military wives are fat, and if you're calling me fat, I'm gonna beat you up, because that's rude. But as far as like military wives not working, I feel like there are more of us who do work, and then the other part are stay-at-home moms, and there's only a slim part of people who just don't work. And so I guess this one is kind of dumb too, because I think that the majority of what they're seeing who say we don't work are the stay-at-home moms, and that's, again, just annoying to me. So this one is stupid, and if you think it, I don't want to say you're stupid, but change your views, because I'm a big believer in getting your degree, doing what you love, and you know, pursuing your passions. Each duty station you go to, I think it's super important to find your desires and your dreams and things like that. So anyways, done talking. Hope that made sense. All right, just gonna toss this one in there because I thought it was sweet, and I want us to just like have joy in this moment of maybe not joy. There was a stereotype that we are strong and that we are brave, and I just want to completely affirm that we are. All the things that we've gone through have made us so strong and so brave, and I think that that's important to shed light on, and to just give a round of applause for all of us, because we're amazing. And you know, even though we don't, you know, fight for this country and put our lives on the line every single day, we have such a strong part in giving our husbands or significant others away to the country, like having to deal with loneliness and having to deal with these things on behalf of the United States of America. And so if you feel like you're just doing a bad job, or you are just sucking at this military lifestyle, know that you are strong and you are brave and you can do this and you are amazing. And I, on behalf of all of us, are saying just like thank you for your service as a military spouse and a military significant other, because you are doing so much and loving him or her as they go out each day and fight for our country or deal with difficult circumstances each day. So yes. All right, so the next one is military couples don't last. And to be honest, if you are marrying for the money and if you are cheating, makes sense. You're not going to last as a military couple. It just makes sense. If you're, you know, doing contracts for money and then divorcing, you're not going to last. No, you're not going to last. So if you as a couple are showing the world that you are marrying for the money and that you cheated, everyone's gonna think that you are one of those couples that don't last. And so for this one, I guess it just goes back to like, don't marry for the money. And two, if you are struggling with cheating, if you're struggling with anxiety, if you're struggling with loneliness, if you're struggling with literally anything in your marriage, you need to seek help. And the problem with being a young couple is that you as a young couple are just figuring out life together. And when you are a young couple, you have this idea of like this perfect and beautiful marriage and like everything's gonna be great. And marriage is beautiful, marriage is awesome. But when you're in a military marriage, there's like all the things that regular marriages deal with times 100, because now you're separated. You go a long time without dealing with something. You come back together, you have to figure out life together. Now they leave again. And then they come back, you have to figure out life together, they leave again, and you grow distant, and you don't communicate, and like all of these things happen. So don't be ashamed if you have to go to counseling. Like counseling, especially Christian counseling, is so beneficial because you're able to like figure out the things that you particularly are struggling with, he's struggling with, and then you can grow yourself and you can become better together. And I don't know if I've ever mentioned this on my channel, but Connor and I have been through mentoring through our church, and I don't know if we've ever been counseling together, but I've been through counseling so that I could be a better wife. And it has like helped me dramatically, like so much, to be able to have someone else be able to pour into me and tell me just things that they see in me that I don't even see. And so it's so beneficial. So don't be afraid to go to counseling, even in the slightest area, because if you can work on your marriage at the beginning, you are going to continue growing and thriving as a married couple. Don't wait until it's like 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the road and you're struggling with that same exact thing you were dealing with at the beginning. Like the perspective of, oh, we're just going to get past this, is most likely always a lie that you tell yourself, because it just continues to grow if you don't deal with it. So at least address the problems in your marriage and move forward. But with all that said, don't cheat, don't marry for the money. And if you do both of those things or one of those things and you're having problems in your marriage, work through those. Go to counseling, seek help, do something, fix your marriage. Both work hard to grow your marriage. Strive to love each other for the rest of your life, because through counseling and through seeking help, you are going to begin to restore your marriage. So don't give up. Like, marriage is about commitment and about sacrificial love. If you're not sacrificially loving your significant other, you're not loving them and you're not doing marriage correctly. So do it. Wow, I need a drink of my Gatorade. It's getting hyped up in here. I think I'm losing my voice. Okay, so another stereotype which I wanted to address quickly, and this one's not really a bad one, but someone said that there's no such thing as a military husband, only a military wife. And I'm very bad at this. And I always say like military wife, military wife, military wife. And Connor, when he's here and he hears me, he always corrects me and he's like, say military significant other, because it could be both. So just as like also an apology to anyone who's a significant other who is a husband, I'm so sorry that I keep saying wife. I think it's because I am a wife that I just kind of naturally say that, but also an encouragement or just like a rise above for everyone else to, when we talk about military significant others, to not say just military wives, but to just say in general military significant other, to include the husbands out there. So yeah, that one's like a quick one, but I just wanted to address that one because I am so bad at that and I am so sorry. Another stereotype is that we don't have an education, and I think this is a stereotype because usually if your significant other joins when you're a senior in high school, or maybe like within your college years, usually what happens, and I've heard this happen many times, is that the wife then is like, well, should I stop college and move with him and then restart college there, or should I drop out of college and then move with him because I want to be with him? And like all of these stories of like not finishing college to be with him. And then that is like, that perspective for everyone else is, you just decided not to finish school or get an education because you want to be with your significant other. And from an outside perspective, that seems dumb because they've probably never experienced long distance relationship, because it is hard when you are with someone who is far away and you can barely ever see them, or they have dealt with a long distance but they can just see their significant other whenever they want to because they're civilians, but they don't understand long distance military. So I totally understand that stereotype. And so one, I would encourage everyone out there who is a military significant other who is getting their education to really make your education super important. And if you don't know my story, I spent a year apart from Connor because I wanted to finish my education. I was like, this is super important to me and I love you, but I need to finish this. And I did. I spent a year apart and it was very hard, but I did it. And so if you need to finish your education, do it. If that's important to you, do it. If you want to move and transfer to where they are and finish college, do that. Do not get lazy and, you know, be like, oh, well, I'll just do it after this or whenever he leaves on whatever and blah blah blah, when I have more time and blah blah blah. Like, no, when you get to the state that he's in, search for colleges, apply, do all the things that you need to finish your education, because it is super important. And I think that goes back to military wives not having jobs, and it can be because military wives don't have an education, and so then they can't find a job, or they're trying to find an easy job, or, you know, all those things. So not to say that if you don't want your education and you don't do those things that you are terrible or whatever, but I just think education is super important, and doing what you love is super important. And so if you can get an education and pursue your dreams, then go for it. Like, nothing is stopping you. Just because you're a military wife does not mean anything. Like, there's going to be sacrifice along the way of you being apart, but like, that happens. One of my friends that I knew, her husband was on Connor's ship. They went on deployment. She left to go to college. Well, then when they came back, she still was in college. So she spent 6 months apart from her husband, even though he had gotten back from deployment. Sacrifice. You have to do it. You have to do it if you want to pursue an education, you want to pursue your dreams. I do acknowledge that, like, it is true, but I feel like people from the outside perspective don't understand the sacrifice that it takes to be away from your significant other while you're in school, because you both have things that you're doing and you can't just drop everything to see each other. So you most likely will only see each other 3 times a year for maybe a week, and that's hard. And so this one to me is like, I understand one side, but I also think it's not true that we don't have an education. I just think it's hard for us to get an education and to finish the education. So yeah. All right, and so the last one, I legit think I'm losing my voice because I'm going ham on this video. All right, so the last one is, we can't complain because we signed up for this, or like something along those lines of like, because we signed up for the military life, that means we can't complain about military life. I don't know if that's like an assumption, but I guess the assumption is like all military wives complain, and basically I guess like we have no right to complain or something like that. But this one is like stupid and annoying to me, because like I keep referring back to college, but I think like people will understand that a lot. But like, if you are in college and you sign up for college and you go to college and you pay for college, you're most likely, I have never met one college student who didn't complain about their homework, who didn't complain about an assignment, who didn't complain about a project, who didn't complain, period, about something. Because like, people complain, they're complainers. And yet people look at us and they're like, you can't complain because this is what you signed up for. Well, yeah, you signed up for college and you're paying for college, and yet you're complaining. So, and here I am, my husband's actually sacrificing his life for this country. So who can complain more, me or you? Because you're just complaining about a homework assignment. So to me, I'm like, why is this one so stupid? And honestly, like, I'm the type of person that I don't like complaining, because I think we should always see the blessings in life, and through like every circumstance, God is showing us like his glory in those things. So even if it's a bad circumstance, like God didn't do that bad circumstance to us, but through that bad circumstance, he can bring glory out of it. And so I always try to look for, okay, what is God doing in this circumstance? And so I like try to rarely complain. And I feel like it's also a Hispanic thing where I can't complain because my mom would get mad at me if I would complain. So I've been trained to not complain. But yeah, I think like we just as millennials in general, or just people, complain about things. And so that's dumb that they put that on military significant others, that we can't complain, as if they have a right to say what we can and can't complain about, because I guarantee 100% they've complained in their life about something that was way less harsh than what we have to go through. So this one is dumb. I hate it. I won't accept it as a stereotype or an assumption, because no, I just no, I won't do it. Because it's like so like nitpicky about military significant others, and it's like crossed the line of even being valid. So as like an encouragement though, because I feel like there probably aren't all people like me who see the blessings in life, is try to not complain as much, because when you complain you sound very childish. And again, not to like hate on anyone, I love you all, but this is just what like just I would tell myself too. It sounds very childish, and not to say that your complaints aren't valid, because again, I totally understand the whole journey, but like if you are gonna complain, do it in a safe space where you feel like someone is going to shed some light or have a perspective of love poured back into you. Because when it's just two people complaining back and forth, like you get fired up and then you just become more complainy. You start to complain more and more and more and more. But if you just like word vomit and like complain to someone who is going to love you back and be like, I understand what you're going through, blah blah blah, like encouragement, love you, blah blah blah, then that's probably more what you need to be like, I just need to get that off. Thank you for encouraging me. We're done. Like that's much better than like complain, getting fired up. Now I'm blazing on fire and I hate blah blah blah, and so you're complaining more and more and more. So yeah, I don't know if that made sense. I would just encourage everyone to complain less and see the blessings more. But again, it's okay to complain. Just do it in a healthy way, and maybe just don't do it as often. But again, totally valid. But anyways, this is going to be a really super long video. So hopefully everything that I said made sense, and I wanted to like validate them, because I feel like I didn't want to just say these were wrong, because what make assumptions and stereotypes are people who do them. But there are ways that we can rise above those, and that we as a military community can change and be better and raise ourselves to higher standards. Like I feel like as a military community, we should be at high standards, because the military sets high standards and we should be able to uphold those, but even more in our own lives. And so just encouraging you all to do that for yourself, to seek help in counseling if you need it, to, you know, figure out yourself and the things that you struggle with. If you struggle with feeling unloved, like seek help for that, because you don't want to go down a path of cheating or whatever, or just like low self-esteem, or you know, all of those things. And figure out your desires, figure out your dreams, get an education. We are strong women and men who serve this country and are also here just like supporting them, and we shouldn't have such terrible stereotypes. That just shouldn't be a thing. And also I wanted to point out that I also don't have it all together. Like sometimes I am lazy, sometimes I I don't know what was on this list. Sometimes I complain. And I'm one of those military wives now that has babies. Like, we can't all be perfect and like not creating these stereotypes. But if you hear one of those, just like debunk them on the spot and be like, that's not true, because here I am working, here I am getting an education, and validate like the reason there are military wives who have babies is this. Debunk what they're saying right there, because I can guarantee they're gonna be like, oh, did not see that coming, because they just thought, haha, I'm just gonna like be rude to her and do this stereotype on her, and she's gonna be like, I don't know what they think, I don't know, but like fire back at them, be like, look, yo, this is what's up, okay? Yo. So I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I'm just rambling now. But anyways, so I hope that all made sense. Maybe I got a little off on the end. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. But hope that was helpful to any of you guys who wanted to debunk the stereotypes, but also know how we can rise above them. And hopefully that helped for any of you who believed these stereotypes, and now you can maybe like see them in a different light. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this cutie sleeping. So cute. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.